Welcome, my dear young friends, to Bible Reflection at RMIT and also at Teresa Youth Ministry. My dear friends, today is Friday, and today we also commemorate very special saint in the church, Saint Teresa of Avila, or we call it Saint Teresa of Jesus. She is a doctor of the church, and she also contributes a lot in the life of the church, especially in the way she reformed the religious life, especially the Carmelite. And my dear friends, the gospel today is also quite significant and also important for us as well, because the gospel will highlight the direction to our Christian life, to the life of those who want to follow Jesus. So I think please pause for the moment, and my young friends, just pause for the moment in silence and offer to God our own difficulties, our own worries, and also offer to God those who need our prayer today. And before we can, after that, we can listen to the gospel. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke. The people had gathered in their thousands, so that they were treating on one another. And Jesus began to speak, first of all to his disciples. Jesus said, "Be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees, that is, their hypocrisy. Everything that is now covered will be uncovered, and everything now hidden will be made clear. For this reason, whatever you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the hidden places will be proclaimed on the housetops. To you, my friends, I said, do not be afraid of those who kill the body and after that can do no more. I will tell you whom to fear. Fear him who, after had killed, has the power to cast into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. Can you not buy 5 sparrows for 2 pennies? And yet not one is forgotten in God's sight. Why, every hair on your head has been counted. There is no need to be afraid. You're worth more than hundreds of sparrows. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise you, Lord Jesus Christ. My dear young friends, the Gospel today, we will listen to the Gospel according to St. Luke. And as I mentioned at the beginning of today sharing, we listen to the very important and significant message. And also, this is also helpful to guide our Christian life. Why I say that? Because at the very end of the gospel, we hear, do not be afraid. And there is no need to be afraid. Why? Because everything we live in the God's providence. God cares for us and God protects us. And this is a very important and very significant message for us, especially in the time we have to face many challenges and also many difficulties in our life. COVID-19 pandemic is named for this challenge time. And this pandemic also look like a test for us, because this is the time for us to examine our life, examine our relationship with God. God said to us in the gospel today, do not be afraid. But are we afraid? Someone say yes, someone say no. But deep end of our life, in the heart of our life, we also said, yes, I'm afraid. I'm afraid about the future. I'm afraid about many things. I'm afraid very practical thing in our life, like I'm afraid to lose my job. Yes, I'm afraid. But the gospel today also sending us the very important message to remind us about the calling. God loves us and God cares for us. God protects us. The message is there, my dear friends. The message is there for us. But how we take that message to our life and how we give that message in our life and how we practice that message in our life, that is the question for us. God's providence is always in our life. And God's protection, God's cares is always there. The important is we recognize that first. And then we ask God to intervene to help us. We can only do that when we ready and we empty ourselves to welcome God's providence, God's protection, God's care in our life. Empty ourselves. To empty ourselves, my dear friends, the only way we do that is we need to offer to God our own worry, our own difficulties, our own challenges. Offer to God. That is the good way to empty ourselves and welcome God's providence, God's protection, God's care in our life. The gospel today raises us the calling, the information, and it's up to us, my dear friends, to accept it and to bring us that message into our life. My dear friends, in the midst of many difficulties and many uncertainties in our life, the most important thing for us now is God's care and God's protection. Do you agree with me about that? If you agree with what I said, go ahead to empty yourself and welcome God's providence in your life. Thank you, my dear young friends, for your time to listen to what I shared today. And that message is so huge and so strong and powerful. But that message becomes real whenever we apply that in our life. Thank you and have a nice day ahead. And please remember, welcome God's providence, God's care, and God's protection in our life. This is always the key things during this pandemic. Have a nice day ahead, my dear friends, and see you tomorrow with the Bible study and some music. We will use the gospel for Sunday, and hopefully through the section you can have something to take away and also have something to reflect on when you listen to the gospel. And see you tomorrow, my friends, and have a nice day. Please take care of yourself.